Looks like we're on the record right now. Okay, well. The system's been on the whole time. Good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Amy Carter. This is Courtroom 1, Session 1. Could I have the attorneys place their appearances on the record, please?
Morning, Edith Bush for the Office of the State Attorney.
Thank you.
And Attorney Manuel Soto Diaz with the Office of Public Defender.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Guillermo Peralosa.
Sir, you're here in case number 18 CF 16871. You failed to appear for case management conference on March 13th of 2019. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $500. If the public defender's office wasn't previously appointed, I'll appoint them as well. And in case number 16 CF 1299, I'll take no action at this time, sir. Thank you. Good morning. Your name, sir?
Michael Hogglebum.
Mr. Hogbuck, you were here in case number 19MM2477, sir. You were arrested for the offense of battery. I do find probable cause for that, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm gonna set your bond, sir, at $1,000 and order that you not return to the Chevron gas station at 3501 Old Winter Garden Road, and you're not to have any contact with Nur Nobi or Mohammed Jabbar. Thank you, sir. Okay. Yeah. Could you give me the case numbers? 19MM1647 and 19MM1622. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hogbuck, in case number 19MM1647 and 19MM1622, I'm revoking your bond at this time, sir, and both of the bonds will be set at none. Thank you. Good morning, your name?
Lance Bennett, ma'am.
Mr. Bennett, you're here in case number 19MM2512. You were arrested for trespassing. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Bennett?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication of guilt, 5 days. 2 days credit time served, no return to the McDonald's at 5890 South Orange Blossom Trail, and abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Okay.
Anyway, I can challenge this with, I guess, the corporation or the company, because this is, it's not right.
Okay.
Regardless, if it's, I understand this is judicial system and
Sure.
whatever, you're just doing your job, but I want to fight it because I'm an American citizen and I pay taxes.
Okay, no, you absolutely can fight it, Mr. Bennett. So, as I said, I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your bond is $500, sir. Thank you.
But I'm saying they said they have a plea right now that I can take.
They do, but you just told me you don't want to take the plea. You want to fight this charge because you
No,
think
I
it's
want to
unjust.
fight I wanted to fight the trespassing. That's why I want to fight with the corporation or with whoever it is, because that's just not true. It's just an employee. We're talking about an employee, then we're talking about a corporation. She's an employee. She wants to. I don't know what the problem is.
Mr.
But
Diaz,
that's
do you
her
want to
problem.
speak to him for a moment to
I'd like
determine what he wants to do?
seriously. That's her. My medical status and go and do all this headache stuff I've been trying to do, and I didn't even get a chance to even get my medicine, my pain medicine, because everybody just knows everything. I go to the pharmacist, he want to be the doctor and the pharmacist. I can't deal. What can I win? I want to get my pain medicine, but he's looking at me like, well, I think it's drugs. It's drugs. You don't supposed to have drugs. Yeah. Well, all right. I'll take it. What's Wednesday? What are they? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Like I'll
You
leave.
can accept the state's.
Okay, just need the plea form,
I'm not
please.
even going to argue no more with nobody. Not,
Bless you.
thank you. Not arguing with anyone. Just do what's right and keep going. If it calls me to do whatever, it will. So I sign right here. Like, good grief. Like, this. I have a job. That's the only thing about it. I got a good job.
All right, Mr. Bennett, your attorney just informed me you'd like to accept the state's offer and enter a no contest plea this morning with the agreed upon resolution of an adjudication of guilt, 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2. You're also not to return to the McDonald's, sir, and abide by all trespass warnings. Is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what you'd like to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you read and understand this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, I understood.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up?
No, I really don't.
I can't hear you.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, do you understand if you're on probation for anything, anywhere, that this plea may violate your probation?
I'm not on probation, ma'am.
Okay. Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen, that this plea will subject you to deportation?
I'm American like apple pie, ma'am.
Okay. Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
If I can maybe get them, ma'am, I maybe take them.
Okay. Well, my question to you, sir, is do you understand everything that's happening in court this morning?
I do. I understand them. I understand that Donald Trump is our president.
Thank you, sir. I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, find that there is a sufficient factual basis to do so. Sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You also need to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by March 25th of 2020. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Lake Cobb is refusal, Your Honor.
All right, we'll reset. Mr. Cobb. Good morning, your name?
Julian Amante.
Mr. Amante, you're here in case number 19MM2529. You are arrested for trespass. I do find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Amante?
Yes, it's an adjudication of guilt, 5 days Orange County Jail, 2 days credit time served, no return to the Wawa at 1200 West Colonial Drive, abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
He qualifies for PTR.
Yes, Your Honor, that was going to be my request. He
Okay.
qualifies for release to PTR.
Sure, I'll release him to PTR.
Any conditions, sir?
No.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, except for not going back to the Wawa. There's already a trespass warning, so. Good morning, your name?
Cameron Barnett.
Mr. Barnett, you're here in case number 19MM2532. You were arrested for trespassing. I find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office. Is there an offer for Mr. Barnett?
Yes, it's an adjudication of guilt, 5 days, 2 days credit time served, no return to Langford Park on East Central Boulevard, abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
Okay.
He's going to accept the state's offer, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Burnett, did you read and understand the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you understand that the plea agreement is an adjudication of guilt, 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days time served?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you can't go back to Langford Park?
I understand.
All right. Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up by entering into this plea?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're on probation for anything anywhere that this plea may violate your probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No, ma'am.
All right, I'll accept your plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days. You also cannot return to Langford Park. You have to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by March 25th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a blessed day.
Good morning, your name?
Morning, ma'am. My name is Juan Carabao Rivera, ma'am.
Sir, you're here in case number 19MM2518. You were arrested for trespass. I do find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Rivera?
Yes, it's an adjudication, 5 days, 2 days credit time served, no return to the 7-Eleven at 2160 Americana Boulevard, abide by all trespass warnings and court costs.
I'll accept, ma'am.
All right, so I just need the plea form, please. Mr. Rivera, did you read and understand the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up this morning?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're on probation for anything anywhere that this plea may violate your probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand if you're not a United States citizen that this will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning? Sir, I will accept your plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You're not to return to the 7-Eleven at 2160 Americana Boulevard. You're to abide by all the trespass warnings, and you need to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by March 25th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing. Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
Good morning. Your name?
Mario Chambers.
Mr. Chambers, you're here in case number 19MM208. You were arrested for possession of cannabis less than 20 grams and resisting officer without violence. I do find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office. I'll stay your bond on count 1 at 500 and your bond on count 2 will be 100. And 18 CF 10446, I'll take no action, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning. Your name, sir?
No contest. Jean Antoine.
Mr. Anton, you're here in case number 19MM2520.
No
You were
contest.
arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia, sir. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent
No
you.
contest.
Is there an offer for Mr. Anton?
Yes, Your Honor. It's an adjudication, 3 days, 2 days credit time served.
Did you hear the offer, Mr. Anton?
No contest. Yes, I heard the offer.
Your Honor, may I have a brief moment with him?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Are we ready to proceed?
I think we are, Your Honor. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, Mr. Anton, did you have an opportunity to read this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, sir. I plead no contest. I mean, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions about any of the rights you're giving up on this form?
No.
Okay. Do you understand, sir, if you're on probation for anything anywhere, that this plea may violate your probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also understand if you're not a United States citizen, that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
Okay. Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No.
Sir, I'll accept your plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You also have to pay court costs. Those need to be paid by March 25th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Brianna Johnson.
Pardon me?
Brianna Johnson.
All right, ma'am. I'm going to have you speak up, okay? Right into the microphone so that I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're here in case number 19MM210. You were arrested for disorderly conduct. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And she qualifies for pretrial release.
She does, Your Honor.
Do you want to hear an offer or resolve your case today, or do you want to be on pretrial release?
That's what we spoke about.
Yeah, I want to do a trial release.
Okay, I'll order pretrial release then. Thank you, ma'am.
And Your Honor, we'd like to have a no return to the Brunswick lanes.
Yes. Ms. Johnson, you're not to return to the Brunswick-Wekiva lanes at 2160 East Cimarron. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Coiro Lewis.
Sir, you're here in case number 19 CF 4087. You were arrested for possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting officer without violence. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000, count 2 will be $100, and count 3 will be $100. Thank you, sir. Okay, we will reset Mr. Lasky, please. Good morning, your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Jose Mayo.
Mr. Maya, you're here in case number 19 CF 4103. You were arrested for aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer with a deadly weapon. I find probable cause for that offense. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir, and your bond is $5,000 in that matter. You're also here in case number 19 CF 4104. You were arrested for fleeing and attempting to elude, reckless driving, and driving while license suspended. I find probable cause for those offenses as well, sir, and will appoint the public defender. On count 1, your bond is going to be $7,500. Count 2, I'll stay at $500, and count 3, I'll stay at $500. Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Before we dismiss Mr. Maya, may we briefly discuss the aggravated assault on a Leo charge? Because from my reading of the incident report, it just appeared to have been an accident. It doesn't seem as if he intended to crash his four-wheeler into the car.
Yeah, Your Honor, I was just riding my...
Ooh, don't do that.
Okay, so you're saying you don't believe that there's probable cause because there's no intent. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that even if law enforcement believed there had been intent, I would have expected a felony criminal mischief charge, because I think the officer's theory is that he meant to hit me. He meant to cause damage to the car, but it read to me as if it was just an accident. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he got upset about the accident, for which I suspect the aggravated assault, or why he charged him with the aggravated assault, but I don't.
Ms. Bush?
Your Honor, within the four corners of the arrest affidavit, the officer describes how he became surrounded by a group and that of riders, that some slowed down, others pulled up on both sides of him, and suddenly the defendant came up and smashed the mirror of the driver's door. The officer's perception is that this was intentional of the group that surrounded him, that Mr. Maya's behavior was an intentional act, and that I believe stands for probable cause for the assault that the officer perceived. And the standard would be the reasonable officer.
Yeah, I think that there are sufficient facts within the affidavit to establish that a reasonable person could conclude that the crime was committed, so I do find that there is probable cause. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, my other question, I'm sorry, for the driving while license suspended, maybe I missed that. Was that in the...
There's tickets on, I have 2 affidavits, so there's 2 police reports, and then there's a driving while license suspended ticket.
Oh, because I didn't see anywhere where he had done a search
Pardon me?
Confirm that his license was suspended.
I did. It's attached to the face sheet. If you want to approach and look at it,
okay.
you're welcome to.
No, that's okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mr. Diaz, do they not give you a copy of the driving record?
No.
Oh, okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Messenger, I'm sorry, Miss Messenger is mental health.
Okay, then we'll reset Miss Messenger. Thank you. Good morning. Are you Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am. I'm surely is.
Mr. Davis, you're here in case number 19MM2530. You were arrested for battery. I do find probable cause. Did you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want to see if you qualify for the Office of the Public Defender, sir?
Public defender.
Okay. Do you have a job?
Yes, I'm supposed to be at work today.
Okay. Sir, how much money do you make every 2 weeks after taxes?
It depends. It fluctuates. Sometimes I make 5. Sometimes I make every bit of.
Just give me your best
300.
estimate.
About an estimate, about average after taxes, about 338 or something
All
like
right,
that.
so about, we'll say 350. Does that sound reasonable? Do you have any kids or anybody you take care of?
Yes, I do. I'm on child support for one of my kids, and I'm fighting for DCF for my other kid in
Okay.
Georgia.
Sure. So based upon your testimony, sir, I will appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And sir, your bond is $500. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes.
He'd like for the court to consider RR release. He can't afford the $500 bond.
Does Mr. Davis?
Yes.
No, Mr. Diaz, based on his history, he's got 14 felonies, 9 misdemeanors, and a failure to appear. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Edward Lewis.
Mr. Lewis, you're here in case number 19MM2523. You were arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia, sir. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. I may have just one moment to look at his face sheet. The offer is an adjudication, 5 days, 2 days credit, time served, and court costs.
Okay.
Your Honor, before he makes that decision, he wanted to know if the court was inclined to take any action on his out on bond.
I'm not going to take any action on that case.
Would he be able to bond? You could do that too. So it's going to be about $100 for the bonds. Yes, she's not going to do anything. So. Okay. Your Honor, he's going to reject the state's offer.
Okay.
Bond set at 500.
Yes, if that's what it came in as, I'll stay it at 500.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Oh, I have it right here. I thought I'd give it back to you. Good morning, your name?
Corey
Corey, what's your last name?
Ingalls.
Mr. Ingalls, you're here in case number 19MM2527. You were arrested for petty theft, sir. I find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office. The bond is set at $250. I'm going to release Mr. Ingalls' ROR.
Your Honor, may we have a no return to the scene?
Yes.
7-Eleven.
Mr. Ingalls, you can't go to the 7-Eleven at 846 South Kirkman. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you hear what I said?
No. Say
Okay,
sorry.
I didn't think you did. You cannot return to the 7-Eleven at 846 South Kirkman. All right?
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Kiana.
What's your name?
Kiana
What's your last
Johnson.
name?
Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, you're here in case number 19MM209. You were arrested for disorderly conduct. I find probable cause and will appoint the public defender's office. And I'm going to order you to pretrial release, ma'am. You're also not allowed to return to the Brunswick Wakaiba Lanes bowling alley. Do you understand? You need to answer out loud, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, your name?
Rashid Mahoney.
Mr. Mahoney, you're here in case number 19MM 2533. You were arrested for possession of cannabis less than 20 grams and resisting officer without violence, sir. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office, sir, and I'm going to release you to pretrial release. Thank you.
Brian Rock refused.
Okay, we will reset Mr. Rock's case. He refused. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Donald Eugene Ward, W-O-R-L-E-S.
Mr. Worrells, you're here in case number 19MM2524. You were arrested for petty theft with a prior conviction, sir. I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Worrells?
The offer is an adjudication of guilt, 7 days, 2 days credit time served, no return to the scene, abide by all trespass warnings, and if I may, I just need to make sure that there was recovery. And as it was non-perishables, there would be an order of restitution for $106.90.
Okay.
Or it was perishables, I'm sorry.
Yes.
They didn't recover the food?
They can't restock the food once it's,
It was steak and shrimp. I don't think they can put it back, is what she's saying.
Oh.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, Mr. Worrells. Did you read and understand this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You understand the plea agreement is an adjudication of guilt, 7 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days, no return to Walmart, and you have to pay back the $106.90 to Walmart.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They gave me a trespassing warrant, but because I had the past record, that's why the cop brought me in.
Okay. Mr. Worrells, do you understand if you're on probation for anything anywhere that this plea may violate your probation?
I have no probation.
Okay. Do you also understand if you're not a United States citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you taken any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court today?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 7 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days. You cannot return to the Walmart at 12550 South Orange Blossom Trail. There's also going to be an order for restitution in the amount of $106.90. You need to abide by all the trespass warnings and pay court costs. Those need to be paid by March 25th of 2020, and you have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court in writing, sir. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Sedino Martino.
Mr. Martino, you're here on an out-of-county warrant from Seminole County, sir. This is for a failure to appear for a pretrial conference. Your bond is currently set at none, and you'll see a judge when you get to Seminole County, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, Mr. Ames is behavior.
All right, we'll reset Mr. Aim,
And these seats is mental health.
and we'll reset her as well then. What about Mr. Davis, Charles Davis? It's a motion for ROR.
He was released, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'll take no action on that. Are we ready for 33 day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I put a 33-day list, annotated list at the bench.
I do see that, Ms. Bush, I have it right here.
All right. 18 CF 12515 Anthony Mells. That will be denied and information was filed. Eighteen CF 17847 Michael Hernandez. That information, that motion will be denied, and information was filed. Nineteen CF 1650 Jonathan Sedeno. Ms. Bush, I don't see that on the list.
What was the
Jonathan
name?
Sedeno, 19 CF 1650.
One moment. It is number 3 on the ROR list that I have, 2019 CF 1650.
I don't see it. Is it granted or denied?
It should be denied, Your
Oh.
Honor, and information was filed. And the filing ID is listed, and it depends on which list the court is. If you're looking at the list that I annotated, it is not in the same order as the ROR list.
I don't have an ROR list. I just have the.
Well, the list from corrections that has misdemeanor arraignments at the top is in a different order from the list that it appears the court was reading from.
Okay.
It's Jonathan Lewis Sanchez Sedano.
I'm just gonna look them up on
And it's
Odyssey.
on this list as Jonathan Lewis Sanchez.
Okay.
It does not have Sedano on the corrections list, Your Honor. Because it's a hyphenated name. It's not actually hyphenated.
All right. 19 CF 1759 Glenn Wright. That motion will be denied. The information was filed. Nineteen 1430 Daryl Mitchell. That motion will be denied. Nineteen CF 2416 William Rafferty. That motion will be denied. CF 2579 Shaquande Lockhart. That motion will be denied. Nineteen 163 Corsair Azula. That will be granted. Nineteen CF 2551 Anthony Jones. That motion will be granted.
I'm sorry, who was that? That last one?
Anthony Jones granted. 19 CF 2551.
I don't have any.
I don't have it.
I have it, and the notice of non-filing was filed on March 21st.
And Your Honor, I don't have an Anthony Jones on either list.
The order was in, I didn't bring the order to court, so it was in the list. But it should be granted. The motion was filed on March 22nd. The notice of non-filing was filed on the 21st.
And that was 19.
I'm sorry, 19 CF 2551.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jones.
19 CF 1977 Eric Rios, that motion will be denied. And 19 CF 1824 Randolph Chamberlain, that will be granted. CF 2541, that motion will be granted. Willard Ellis.
Did you just see the one I sent you?
19 CF 2307 Nelson Rushing, that will be denied.
Request for
19 CF 2549 Annette Stallman, that motion will be granted.
Your Honor, that should be denied. A request for administrative transfer was just emailed to Defense Counsel, and it was transferred from felony to county court where a misdemeanor information has been filed.
Is that correct, Mr. Diaz?
I don't have the MM number. What's the MM number?
There is no MM number. That's a clocked-in copy from where they walked it over.
No, I mean, where is he? Was he in the new case?
They have not, they just get a clocked-in copy. They don't get an MM number. It's not assigned right then. It's the request for administrative transfer filed in court this morning at 8:36. And it's a misdemeanor information. That's the way the requests for administrative transfers are done. They're walked over to the clerk clocks them in, and then a MM number is assigned later.
But that doesn't make sense. The case has to exist first before you transfer the.
No, that's the way CF felony cases are transferred to county court, and county court cases are transferred to felony or circuit court. It's done by a request for administrative transfer, and then that misdemeanor information is filed. It just has, if you'll look at the information on there.
But the case has to exist first.
The case does exist in felony court. It's being transferred from circuit court to county court. It does exist. We're just not filing felony charges. We're filing misdemeanor charges.
So the misdemeanor information was filed at 8:30 this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, and if the court wishes, I will provide the court also with the clocked-in copy.
No, Ms. Bush, I take you at your word. So the motion will be denied.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I would like to see the misdemeanor information.
She said she sent it to you.
No, the request for the administrative transfer.
And the second page is the misdemeanor information.
There's nothing here. It's not even signed.
That is those are the clocked-in copies, along with the capias, and the clerk's office clocked in the top copy, which was the request. That whole packet is taken to them, and they just stamped that top page. And unless defense counsel feels that this is not true and takes exception to this, this is the standard procedure for the clocked-in transfers, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it's not that I believe that it's contrivance. That's not it. It's just my understanding of transferring a case is that there has to be another case to which the felony record can be transferred to. It has to exist. And jurisdiction doesn't attach at the county level until the misdemeanor information is filed. And there's no way for me to confirm right now that it's filed other than the stamp that exists on the request for administrative transfer. But I have no way of confirming right now, nor does anybody, I guess, that anything exists at the county level, and that's exactly what the language of the notice reads, that where a misdemeanor information has been filed.
And Your Honor, the request for administrative transfer, along with a misdemeanor information, is taken to the clerk of the court. They stamp that request for administrative transfer. They have the signed misdemeanor information. Our office then, because they walk over with the signed information and they have that original information that they just printed out an extra copy of. Mm-hmm. They put it together, and that's what I receive. There is a misdemeanor information, signed misdemeanor information in the court file along with that request for administrative transfer. It has not yet been scanned in, nor has it been assigned a misdemeanor case number at this point.
Okay, Your Honor, I propose then that we...
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Amy Carter. This is Courtroom 1, Session 2. Could I have the attorneys place their appearances on the record, please?
Good afternoon. Edith Bush for the Office of the State Attorney.
And Attorney Manuel Soto Diaz with the Public Defender's Office.
Okay. Ms. Bush?
Yes, Your Honor. The state has asked the court to address the earlier release on own recognizance motion that defense filed in Annette Marguerite Stallman's case 2019 CF 2549AO. And the state asked for this to be addressed again and at the beginning of the session because the court had asked the state to provide the court with a signed copy of the misdemeanor information that accompanied the request for administrative transfer that the state provided defense counsel with a clocked-in copy of that request for administrative transfer.
Yes.
Along with an unsigned copy of the misdemeanor information. The state asserted that a misdemeanor information, the signed information, is what was filed with the clerk's office, along with that request for administrative transfer. To that end, the state attempted over the break to, via email to the clerk's office, their intake unit downtown, and requested that they send us a copy of that signed information. They have not been able to respond to that request. Therefore, the state does not have a copy of that signed information. However, the state would assert to the court that as an officer of the court, having received notification that that signed information was filed by another officer of the court, the downtown assistant state attorney that filed it, and from his assistant who walked the request and the information to the clerk's office, having put on the record that an information has indeed been filed, under Rule 3.134, the state has met its obligation and has filed an information in this matter. Additionally, the state would point the court to the administrative order that governs initial appearances and requests for administrative transfer. In the administrative order, it says that for administrative transfers, the state is obligated to provide the clerk and the court with a signed request for administrative transfer. The state has done that. The state has fulfilled its obligation under the rule and under the administrative order. The state asked that the court deny the motion for release on own recognizance.
Mr. Diaz?
Your Honor, the defense in this case filed a motion in which we allege that the state had failed to file charges against Ms. Stallman within 30 days. The state was provided with additional time to file the information. We arrived at a hearing today, and the obvious paper that would defeat the defense's motion would be producing an information that had been filed, either in felony court or in county court. The state asserted earlier that it had filed an information in county court. Now, I've seen many informations filed, either one electronically or handed in directly to the clerk's office. A copy of that information should exist somewhere, either in the possession of the state, which I would argue is only obvious since they had possession of the original, or somebody has to have proof of that filing. If the state is unable to produce a copy of an information either filed in county court or in felony court to defeat our motion, then that motion should be granted, Your Honor. With respect to the request for administrative transfer and whether that should presuppose a previous filing, I think it's tempting, but Your Honor, to be quite honest with you, that misses the mark. There has to be another case that exists first. And if that other case exists first, well, then why don't we have evidence of that other case? Because we wouldn't transfer a case to something that doesn't exist. So I suspect that, I don't know, not even the request for administrative transfer has been signed. The information, which might be evidence of a future filing, for all I know, wasn't signed. And I'm not ready today to accept this as evidence that an information has been filed such that it would defeat the defense's motion for RR release under 3.134.
Your Honor, if the state may respond just briefly.
Sure.
While the state acknowledges Mr. Soto Diaz's argument, however, the state would assert that unless Mr. Soto Diaz has a good faith belief that an information was not filed along with the request for administrative transfer, then Your Honor should stand with the original ruling, which was originally denying the motion for release on own recognizance, as the state has provided sufficient proof that not only was the request, and the request is asking the clerk to transfer a circuit court case to the county court. That's all the request is. That request is, and traditionally has been, accompanied by that information. Here, the clocked-in copy of the request for administrative transfer is also unsigned, but it was clocked in because that is merely the receipt process that the state utilizes between the state and the clerk's office.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may just briefly respond to that, and this will be the last of my argument, because I have, there's a suggestion here that I believe that there's something nefarious going on. That's not it, Your Honor. It's just that we filed a motion. The easiest way to defeat that motion is just to show up with an information, or to allow me to see that information has been filed in any court, county or otherwise. There doesn't have, I'm not trying to cast aspersions. It's just that is what's required. We made an allegation that information hasn't been filed, and it's incumbent upon the state now to prove me wrong. And so I would ask that this court, if I remember correctly, by the way, the court granted the motion originally and then backtracked when we started discussing the propriety of the administrative transfer and what weight it has with respect to the motion. My contention is going to continue to be that this is meaningless unless there is, in fact, a county case or some misdemeanor case, some information filed related to Ms. Stallman's, to the incident related to Ms. Stallman, for which I would ask that this court grant the motion.
I am going to deny the motion. I do think that I'm satisfied that an information was timely filed in this case. I understand that there's not the actual signed copy here in court, but I am satisfied by the testimony or the information provided by Ms. Bush as an officer of the court in her office that there was an information signed that was submitted with the request for administrative transfer. And I'm going to deny the motion. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Before we conclude the hearing, I'd like to go ahead and have this entered as an exhibit. The record is not complete. I didn't see this on the felony case record.
What is it?
The request for administrative transfer.
Okay, it has not been scanned in.
Right, there's a lag time between what's filed and given to the clerk's office and what's scanned in, but you can approach and we can have it made part of the record here. Thank you.
Interpreter is available.
Oh, great. So first we have Alexis Benitez Martinez. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Bien. Alexis Ali Benítez.
Alexis Ali Benítez.
Sí.
Mr. Interpreter, I didn't hear what you said. Could you repeat that?
Alexis Ali Benítez.
Adalid Benítez. Alexis Adalid Benítez.
Alexis Adalid Benítez.
Okay. Mr. Benitez, you're here in case number 19 CT 618, sir. You were arrested for driving under the influence and driving while license suspended or revoked. I do find probable cause for driving under the influence. I do not find probable cause for driving while license suspended or revoked.
Sí, por la licencia que la.
I'm going to set your bond at $500 on count 1. I'm going to ROR you on count 2. And he does not qualify for the Office of the Public Defender, according to his form. Mr. Benitez, it says that you make $900 every week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you have 2 dependents, is that also correct?
Sí, es correcto.
Yes.
All right, sir. You're going to need to see if you can hire an attorney. I'm going to set your case for a determination of counsel hearing in 1 week. If you're unable to hire a lawyer, we'll readdress that issue then, sir.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
I apologize, Your Honor. The court did not find the count 2 charge, driving with suspended revoked license.
Correct.
Based, and the court does have the information sheet that has his out-of-state criminal history as well.
I do, but I don't have a ticket. I don't have any allegation. The 4 corners of the
Okay.
affidavit say nothing
right.
about it. So no, there's no PC
Thank you,
for
Your
count
Honor.
2. Good afternoon. Your name, sir?
Víctor Hernández Soriano.
Víctor Hernández Soriano.
Sir, you're here in case number 18 CF 14498. You failed to appear for pretrial conference on February 6th of 2019, sir. At this time, your bond is none. I will appoint the public defender if they weren't previously appointed, sir, and you'll need to see the court downtown to see if the bond can be modified. Thank you. Sir, you also have 18 CF 14499. In that case, you failed to appear for pretrial conference as well on February 26th of 2019. Your bond is also set at none in that case, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name?
Mi nombre es Juan Veloz Costa.
My name is Juan Veloz
Acosta.
Acosta.
Okay, Mr. Acosta, you're here in case number 19 CF 4112. You were arrested for possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver and possession of cocaine. I find probable cause for both of the offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. I'm going to release Mr. Acosta, ROR, as to both counts. Thank you, sir.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Carlos Modesto Zip Balán.
Carlos Modesto Zip Valor.
Balán.
Balán.
Sí.
Sir, you're here in case numbers 19 CT 623 and 19 CT 622. You were arrested for DUI with property damage and no valid driver's license, sir. I find probable cause for both of those offenses. I'll also appoint the public defender's office to represent you. And at this time, I'll say your bond on count 1 at $500 and count 2 $100. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Eduardo Galarza.
Perdón.
No te escucho mucho. Can you put some more, a little bit? No. Mi nombre es
Repita su nombre.
Eduardo Galarza.
Eduardo Galarza.
Sí.
Sir, you're here in case number 19MM2541. You were arrested for assault, domestic violence. I do find probable cause, sir. Your affidavit that you filled out indicates that you do not qualify for the office of the public defender, sir. It says you make $1,000 a week. Is that correct?
No, la quincena.
No, every 2 weeks.
Okay. Is that after taxes?
Por ahora yo no estoy haciendo taxes porque no tengo seguro social.
For now, I'm not filing taxes because I don't have a social security number.
And you have no dependents? You don't take care of anybody?
Sí, tengo dos hijos.
Yes, I have 2 kids.
Uno
Okay.
de 10 y uno de 10 y uno
So
de
if he
11.
makes $1,000.
110 and 111.
Okay. Sir, I've corrected that on your form, and you do qualify for the public defender's office, and I will appoint their office to represent you. I don't have a face sheet for Mr. Galarza. Pardon me? I don't. Mm-mm. Thank you. No, are there no witnesses here for Mr. Galarza?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Galarza, I'm going to set your bond at $500. I'm going to order that you not have any contact with Keisha Villalobos, and you are to maintain a separate residence from Ms. Villalobos. You're also not to possess any weapons or any firearms while you're out on bond, sir. Do you understand?
Sí.
Okay. Do we have a
Yes.
no contact form for Mr. Galarza to sign? We do, okay. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
he's likely going to need a one-time opportunity to recover his personal effects.
Sure. Sir, you can go back to the house one time to collect your belongings if you need to. You have to coordinate that with the police before you go over there. Do you understand?
Sí.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem. Thank you. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Jonas Perez.
Jonah Perez.
Mr. Perez, you're here in case number 19MM2538. You are arrested for battery, domestic violence. Were the DV victims told to be in this courtroom, or do they think they're supposed to be in courtroom 2?
I see that there's some here.
Okay,
So I believe they were told to come.
okay, thank you. Sir, you were arrested for battery, domestic violence. I do find probable cause for that offense. Did you want to see if you qualify for the Office of the Public Defender, or do you want to hire your own lawyer, sir?
¿Puedo preguntarle a al abogado que está presente?
Can I ask the attorney that is present?
As to what you should do? Or are you saying you want him to represent you?
Porque no entendí bien la pregunta que me hizo, tú sabes, si fui arrestado ciertamente, porque como ella, tú sabes, la situación no fue así como...
Well, the thing is, I didn't really understand the question, because if I was arrested because things didn't really happen the way they.
Can I have a brief moment with him?
Sure,
I think I can
please.
maybe just clarify that. We're ready, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Perez, do you want me to see if you qualify? Oh,
Try again, please.
Mr. Perez, do you want to see if you qualify for the office of the public defender?
Yo mismo me representaré.
I will represent myself.
Okay, sir. Are there any witnesses here for Mr. Perez?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Perez, I'm going to set your bond at $500. I'm going to order that you maintain a separate residence from Livians Gonzalez. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms while you're out on bond, sir. Oh. Yes, that's right.
Oh, that's right, Your Honor.
She is.
She's here.
Mhm.
How did that happen? Oh,
She must not need an interpreter.
Ah, that makes sense.
Okay.
You
Yes,
did
please.
tell me that earlier.
Okay.
And I didn't see on here a co-defendant.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection because of the interpreter. Mr. Perez, I'm going to set your case for a determination of counsel hearing in 1 week. That way, if you change your mind about representing yourself or you don't hire a lawyer, that we can readdress the issue, okay?
Yo estoy de seguro que puedo representarme.
I'm certain that I can represent myself.
Okay. Did you happen to bring her paperwork with you? Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Your name?
Livanis.
Are you Livanis Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we were just addressing Mr. Perez's case, where you are an alleged victim in that matter. And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Did you want to have contact with Mr. Perez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you live together?
We do live together.
Do you want to continue living together?
If that's possible, yeah.
Okay. Are you afraid of Mr. Perez?
Actually, no.
Okay. If you thought that your safety was in jeopardy, would you feel comfortable calling law enforcement to report that? If you thought that Mr. Perez was going to hurt you, would you call the police?
Is he able to translate? I can't understand very well what you're asking me.
Do you need a translator?
Yeah, just for that question.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. So that it could be fair for both, if the defendant is saying that she only needs an interpreter for one question, then the interpreter can do it over the loudspeaker and both can hear at the same time. It's up to Your Honor.
I don't have any objection to that. Do either of the parties?
No, Your Honor.
No. Okay, that'll work.
It's just only for that question. Okay.
Can Your Honor repeat the question, please?
Sure. Ma'am, if you were afraid of Mr. Perez, if you thought he was going to harm you, would you call the police to report that?
Oh, yes, I will.
Señor.
Yeah. Now I understand, sorry.
Okay. So as I understand it, you would call the police if you thought that Mr. Perez was going to hurt you. Is that right?
If I thought.
Okay. Ms. Bush, do you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Perez, do you have any questions of the witness?
If she loves me.
Okay. Well, just questions related to what I asked her, so.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, ma'am, you're here in case number 19MM2539. You were also arrested for battery, domestic violence, ma'am. Mr. Perez, I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked her. Do you want to have contact with her?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you afraid of her?
No.
No.
If you thought that she was going to hurt you, would you call the police to report that?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Bush, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And I am going to appoint the public defender in Ms. Gonzalez's case. Mr. Diaz, did you have any questions for Mr. Perez? Okay. Yes. Okay. Would he, if I'm going to order no hostile contact, would he qualify for pretrial release as well? The only thing that I see is I don't think that he qualified because you couldn't verify any community ties or, because he has no history at all.
He did, but if you were to have a re-interview to see the PTR or above it,
Okay, then that's what I'll do. All right, so I'm going to order for Mr. Perez, I'm going to order pretrial release or $500 bond. I'm going to modify what I said before, and you're going to have no hostile contact with Ms. Gonzalez, but you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms while you're out on bond. Do you understand? Mr. Perez, I see you shaking your head, but I need you to answer out loud, please.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Gonzalez, I'm also going to order for you that you not have any hostile contact with Mr. Perez. And you are not to possess any weapons or any firearms while out on bond. And I'm going to order pretrial release for you as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, just for the record, on Ms. Gonzalez, the state would object to pretrial release as it is a crime of violence.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bush.
Your Honor, are those all the interpreter cases?
They are? Oh, okay, yes, then I think we're finished.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ahmed, is that?
He's Arab.
Huh?
He's Arab.
What about Nelson Velasquez Alasky? All right, and then same with, oh, no, this is our Arabic, okay. Ron? Good afternoon, ma'am. Are you there?
Good afternoon. Yes.
Okay. It's been working fine. Today's the first day that it's not. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
مصطفى عمد.
أنا بحضرتك شو اسمك سيدي؟
Excuse me?
Might need to redo.
Madam Interpreter?
Yes. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, I'm going to call the case at this time.
Yes.
Okay, this is case number 19 CF 4114. Sir, could you tell me your name, please?
مصطفى عمد.
رقم القضية
Mr. Ahmed, I know that you may understand some things that I'm saying, but I need you to wait until the interpreter finishes what she's saying and then answer. Go ahead, ma'am.
رقم القضية 19C1114. ما هو اسمك سيدي؟
مصطفى أحمد.
مصطفى أحمد.
Thank you, sir. You're here. You were arrested for false imprisonment and domestic violence and battery domestic violence. I find probable cause for both of those offenses, sir. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
حضرتك سيدي تم اعتقالك بتهمة العنف الأسري أو العنف المنزلي وأيضا الاعتداء، وأنا شايفة أن هذه التهم ثابتة وسأقوم بتعيين محامي عام أو مجاني للدفاع عنك.
Okay.
Madam Interpreter, I know I was speaking very quickly. I don't know if you need me to repeat anything or if Mr. Ahmed needs me to repeat anything.
No, Your Honor, I interpreted what you said. Would you like me to ask Mr. Ahmed if you...
Yes, please.
Yes. السيد أحمد هل بدك أنا بعرف إني حكيت بسرعة هل بدك إني أعيد كلامي مرة ثانية؟
لا.
No.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am.
أهلا حضرتك سيدتي عفوا.
Madam Interpreter, we do have a witness here as well who I believe is going to need the, no? Ma'am, you speak English? Okay. Then we just need you to translate for Mr. Ahmed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, ma'am. Could you tell me your name, please?
Manal Arafat.
Could you move closer to the microphone?
Manal Arafat.
Ma'am, what would you like to tell me?
I'm scared. And I'm scared for my children. And I don't want to fear what he can do to retaliate or out of spite, like take my kids away from me, out of the country, or anything of that nature. Wanted peace.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Bush, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have one question. Ma'am?
Yes.
Have you obtained a protective injunction against Mr. Ahmed?
Yes, this morning.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Diaz?
Nothing from the defense.
Okay. So at this time, Mr. Ahmed, I'm going to order that you not have any contact with Ms. Arafat. You are not to return to 202 Sienna Gardens Circle. You are to maintain a separate residence.
That's not my address.
Are you the Fishtail address? Okay. So take that off. But you're not to return, so you can return to the Sienna Gardens address, sir?
No, that's my brother's address. I have an injunction where he can't, if I'm there, go there either. So where I reside is the 1991. That's my home. It's my
Okay.
kid's home.
Your Honor, law enforcement just responded to her brothers, but the events took place in the home.
Okay.
I was there because I didn't want to go home.
I understand, ma'am. Okay. So,
Your Honor, the state would ask for a no return to the 1991 Fishtail Fernway and also a no return to the Sienna Gardens Circle address.
okay. Mr. Ahmed, I'm going to order that you not return to the Sienna Gardens Circle address or the Fishtail Fernway. You're not allowed to, or you're also to maintain a separate residence from Ms. Ahmed and abide by the injunction that she says is in place. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms, sir.
السيد أحمد يعني أنا أمرك أنك يعني ممنوع أنك ترجع إلى العنوان اللي هو في سيانا جاردن وأيضا العنوان اللي هو 1991 فرانواي وأيضا مفروض أنك يكون عندك سكن منفصل عليها أيضا وممنوع أنه يكون في حوزتك أو يكون معك أي أسلحة أو أسلحة نارية.
Okay.
Your Honor, he'll need a one-time return to recover his personal effects.
Sure. Mr. Ahmed, I am going to order that you can return to the house one time with the police to get your belongings.
سيد أحمد أنا سأعطي أمر أنك ترجع إلى البيت مرة واحدة مع الشرطة حتى تأخذ متعلقاتك أو أغراضك.
Okay.
Okay, but I want you to understand that you need to contact the police and coordinate that with them before you go. You cannot just show up at the house to get your things. Do you understand?
لكن بدي اياك تفهم انك ضروري تتصل بالشرطه وتنسق معهم ذهابك الى البيت، يعني ممنوع تروح للبيت لوحدك من غير شرطه.
If you show up to the house without the police, sir, you will get arrested. Do you understand me?
حضرتك سيدي لو ذهبت إلى البيت من غير الشرطة سيتم اعتقالك. هل حضرتك فهمني؟
فاهم. Yes.
I understand.
And I have this is a no contact order, sir, that you just signed. Do you understand what this is?
Yes.
في هذا الأمر بعدم الاتصال وأنت وقعت عليه، هل فحضرتك مفهوم شو هو اللي مكتوب فيه؟
أيوة.
Yes.
Okay. I know that we're using the services of an interpreter right now, and this is in English. Do you have any questions about the form that you just signed?
أنا أعرف إن إحنا نستعين بخدمة الترجمة وهذا مكتوب باللغة الإنجليزية. هل حضرتك فاهم الورق شو مكتوب في الورق اللي وقعت عليه؟
مش كله.
I don't understand everything.
No, not everything.
Okay. Well, we'll go over it so that everything's very clear.
سنراجع معك حتى يكون الأشياء تكون معك واضحة.
Okay. This says that you cannot have any in-person or face-to-face contact with Miss Arafat.
وهو مكتوب هنا إنك ممنوع يكون عندك أي لقاء شخصي أو وجها لوجه مع السيدة عرفات.
You cannot write to her. You cannot call her.
ممنوع إنك يعني تكتب لها أي شيء أو تتصل بها.
You cannot page her, fax, or text her.
لا يمكن إنك تتصل بها أو يعني تبعت لها رسائل خطية على التليفون أو تبعت لها فاكس.
You cannot email her.
لا يمكن إنك تبعت لها بريد إلكتروني أو إيميل.
You cannot leave any notes or cards on her car, or at her work, or her home.
ممنوع إنك تضع أي ورقة مكتوبة على سيارتها أو أي بطاقة مكتوبة على سيارتها أو مكان عملها أو بيتها.
You cannot have anyone, including your children, send messages to her or contact her on your behalf. Do you understand?
لا يمكن انك تطلب من اي شخص يعني وهذا يشمل اطفالك ايضا حتى الاطفال انك تبعت لها اي رساله او تحاول اتصال بها عبرهم. هل حضرتك فاهم؟
Yes.
You cannot do anything that intimidates her in any way.
لا يمكن انك تعمل اي شيء اللي ممكن انه هو يشعرها بالخوف باي طريقه.
In other words, sir, you cannot communicate with Ms. Arafat in any way. Do you understand?
يعني بطريقة أخرى ممنوع سيدي أنك تتصل بالسيدة عرفات بأي طريقة من الطرق. هل حضرتك فاهم؟
Yes.
Okay. This also includes contact with your children.
وهذا يشمل أيضا الاتصال عبر يعني عن طريق أطفالك.
You will need to have a hearing set in the division for this case to determine whether or not contact with your children will be allowed. Do you understand?
Yes.
سيتم عقد يعني جلسة يتم تحديد موعد لتحديد لو ممكن أنك تتواصل مع أطفالك. هل حضرتك فهمت؟
Yes.
طيب.
I'm sorry, go ahead, madam.
Your Honor, the state would also ask, in addition to a no weapons order, that he surrender his passport.
سيدتي القاضية الولاية تطلب أيضا بالإضافة إلى ممنوع إنه هو يكون معه أي أسلحة. الولاية تطلب منه أيضا إنه هو يعطيها جواز سفره.
Within 24 hours of his release.
لازم إنه هو يسلم جواز سفره خلال 24 ساعة من إطلاق سراحه.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that request for a reason that Mr. Ahmed is going to share with the court. He wanted to explain to the court that he now has nowhere where he can go. He might have to return to Egypt just to, in effect, not be homeless. I understand the state's concerns, but Mr. Ahmed is not permitted to go to either one of the two properties. Go ahead, Mr. Ahmed.
I know this is going to be lost chance to me to talk. If you don't mind, I can talk.
Say in Arabic.
Mr. Ahmed, I don't
No?
want to deny you your opportunity to speak, but I don't want you to tell me anything about your case because everything in this room is recorded and can be used against you.
I'm just gonna say something, even be against me. I don't have no problem if you don't mind to let me speak.
Mr. Diaz?
You could tell her that, but don't talk about what happened. Okay.
I'm not gonna talk about the case, what happened.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about if she don't want me, why she let me go? Why she want me here? I wanna go see my family. My mom passed 2 years ago. I didn't get a chance to see her. My father now got a cancer in the hospital, and I wanna go. I don't wanna come back. I'm not gonna come back.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. I am going to order, sir, that upon 24 hours of your release, you are to surrender your passport to the clerk of the court. But before I continue and finish with the conditions, I want to make sure, sir, that you don't have any questions about the no contact order because I went over it with you piece by piece. So do you have any questions about this whatsoever?
No, I understand.
Okay. All right, and at this time, sir, on count one, I'm going to set your bond at $5,000, and count two, I will set at $500. Thank you. Ma'am, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did I miss something? No. Oh, okay. Sir, do you have any other questions?
سيدي هل عندك أي أسئلة أخرى؟
I don't know why she want me here. She want me stay. If she not gonna give me the key, she got the key, she got the phone, she got the money. If I'm walking from here, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
She have everything.
All right. Thank you, sir. Madam Interpreter, I think we're finished. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for choosing our services. Have a good day. مع السلامة.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Shania Basley.
Ms. Basley, you're here in case number 19 CF 2172. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant where probable cause was previously found for grand theft, third degree, retail theft, $300 or more, and possession of an anti-shoplifting control device, ma'am. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm gonna set your bond at $1,500 on count one, ma'am, $150 on count two, and $100 on count three. You're also here in case number 18 MM11048. That is a violation of probation, where it's alleged that you committed the new law offense that we just discussed, ma'am. And your bond in that matter is set at 0. I'll also appoint the public defender in that matter as well. Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name, sir?
Ramon Baroto, miss.
You Ramon Baroto?
Yes,
Sir, you're here in case number 18 CF 5989. You failed to appear for the reading of a jury verdict on February 19th of 2019, sir. Your bond is 0, and I will appoint the public defender's office if they weren't already appointed. Thank you, sir. Pardon me. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Lee Gillard.
Mr. Gillard, you're here in case number 19 CF 4116. You were arrested pursuant to a warrant where probable cause was previously found. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. I'm going to set your bond at $500 on count 1, sir, and $100 on count 2.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, what was the bond amount on count 2?
100?
100? Okay. Mr. Gillard, can you make that bond? 500, 100?
I can make the bond. I can make that money. I got my money. You got my debit card is in the down here. Ain't nobody there to use it. He's on point. I gotta do it. Well, I mean, I can get the money. My money's be posted Monday. On the first of the month.
Dexter, can you explain to him how to release property? The gentleman right there, you have to figure it out. You got a solution for it. I promise you.
Good afternoon. Your name, sir?
Kenneth Ray Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins, you're here because it's alleged that you violated your pretrial release conditions by failing to report on January 22nd of this year, sir. I'm gonna set bond, sir, at $500 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. Just want to make sure with pretrial services or with corrections, I had this in the other courtroom because he was brought in on the violation of the conditions of pretrial release. And the other time it was a separate charge, so we had to close out the PTR. Like, the bond is not on the violations of pretrial release. That's not a case. Just want to make sure that's clear, that the bond is being set on the 19 CF 303 matter. I just don't want there to be a double case.
Double case, okay. Is there another court?
Well, because see, he
There will
on
be.
pretrial
There will
release
be.
for this case. They brought him in
Okay.
on the violation.
So is that it?
But when I was in the other courtroom, there seemed to be an issue with the way that it was in the system, that this was a separate case, and it's not. Okay, that's the only paperwork you have? Okay. Mr. Diaz, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
You just might
I
want to be on the lookout for
I
it.
just don't know how to convey that. Meaning that you don't want this to be looked at as another case for which there are new conditions of release. Rather, these are different conditions of release on the old case. Is that what I understand?
Right, I just know
Correct.
that when I had this issue before, it was a holdup in someone trying to post their bond because it looked like there were two separate, like he still didn't have a
Cases.
bond on the underlying
Right.
case. So I guess the clerk's paperwork will be clear that it's on the 303. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
See you.
All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Rochelle Lynch.
Ms. Lynch, you're here in case number 19 CF 4107. You arrested for burglary of an occupied structure and criminal mischief. I do find probable cause for both of the offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm gonna set your bond, ma'am, at $2,500 on count one and $100 on count two.
Your Honor, she also qualifies for release to PTR, at least according to my information. The court consider PTR?
Yes, I will order PTR for Ms. Lynch.
And Your Honor, may we have a no return and no contact with victim?
Yes. Ms. Lynch, you understand you cannot return to 1304 North Powers Drive, the residence. Do you understand?
No,
You can't go back there.
I can't go back there ever.
No, ma'am. No. You cannot go back to 1304 North Powers Drive. If you do, you're going to get arrested.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And you cannot have any contact with Jamal Imanali
Okay.
or Roger Southwell. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Amanda Sanchez.
Ms. Sanchez, you're here in case number 19 CF 4110. You were arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer. I do find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you, ma'am, and I'm going to order pretrial release. Thank you.
Thank you. So I get
And Your Honor, for the record, the state would object as it is a crime of violence.
Thank you, Ms. Bush. Oops. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Richard Schuler.
Mr. Schuler, you're here in case number 19 CF 4106. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. I do find probable cause, sir, for the offense, and I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm gonna set your bond, sir, at $500. And case number 19 CF 2943, I'll take no action, sir. Thank you.
I was supposed to pay that.
Pardon me?
I was supposed to pay that.
How are you supposed to pay the bond?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz? Well, I don't know if you want to put anything on the record about what he can afford. You know, I don't know what he can afford.
Yeah. Huh? Oh my God.
Your Honor, do you wish that I examine Mr. Schuler about his ties to the community, income, things of that nature? We'd like the court to consider RR release.
Did you want to put on any testimony from Mr. Schuler?
Sure. Mr. Schuler, let's talk about your,
Well, first of all, could you swear Mr. Schuler in?
Raise your right
Thank you.
hand.
Oh, raise your right hand, Mr. Schuler.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Schuler, how long have you lived in this area?
In the state of Florida? Here, Orlando.
In Orlando. How long have you lived in Orlando?
Ever since I was 6 years old.
Okay. Do you have any other family in the area?
Yes.
Okay. Who are those?
Betty Robinson, Ida Robinson, and Francis Robinson.
Okay. If you were released on your own recognizance, how would you get to court? How do you get around?
On a bike?
On a bike?
Yes. Or you can catch the bus.
Okay. Mr. Schuler, what's your current income right now?
0.
Talk to me about your family. What immediate family do you have?
Well, me and my family don't get along that, but that's why I'm homeless.
Okay,
We
so
don't-
you're
we don't-
currently homeless.
Yes, we don't get along that well, you know. Well, they don't like what I do, and they can't tell me how to do this.
Okay. If you're homeless, where exactly do you normally hang out, or where do you stay usually if you're homeless?
Anywhere and everywhere.
Okay. Locally, or what does that mean?
Beg your pardon?
Locally? Where do you go?
Well, I'm mostly down at the Daily Breed around by the Coalition.
Okay, so you stay close to downtown?
Yes.
Okay, do you know where the courthouse is?
Yes.
All right. You said that you don't get along with your family?
Well, we speak, you know, but we don't sit horses too much.
Is it fair to say they're unlikely to help you bond out?
No, they ain't gonna do that. That's like the question.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Bush?
I have no questions of Mr. Schuler. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, the state does have argument, though.
Sure, go ahead, Ms. Bush.
As to release on his own recognizance, the state would ask the court to take into consideration he was released on his own recognizance in 2019 CF 2943AO when he is alleged to have committed this crime. And the state would also point out to the court that in his 33 prior convictions, 15 felony, 18 misdemeanor convictions, there are crimes of violence mixed in those convictions, as well as escape conviction, and then the rest of the convictions are all drug-related convictions. He has a prior failure to appear as well. The state would submit to the court that he should not be released on his own recognizance. The state would also ask the court that any release conditions include random urinalysis through pretrial services.
Mr. Diaz?
Your Honor, with respect to the prospect of Mr. Schuler being violent, I don't have any information. I know what what Madam State's talking about. I don't know whether any of those offenses are recent. It's often the case, Mr. Schuler is 67 years old. It's often the case that one as a young man commits violent offenses, and then as time progresses, you know, and especially one battling with addiction, will continue to have offenses related to his addiction, but not so much dealing with the impulse control problems that are related to, well, being a young man and being addicted to drugs and committing violent crimes. So I can't speak to that. Mr. Schuler was released RR, and there's other 2 cases, Your Honor. I would ask that if you believe RR release is not appropriate, that you at least consider a very low cash bond to see if maybe his family, I don't know, might come around to liking him a bit more. They might want to help him post his bond and get out of here.
All right, Mr. Schuler, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. I don't want to see you back in here. Do you understand? I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
saw you
Yes, ma'am.
on the 28th.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not going to take any action on 19 CF 2943 at this time. You need to make sure that you stay in contact with the public defender's office and that they have a good address for you, so that way you get notice of court and that you don't miss court, because if you do, you're going to end up right back here. You understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Good afternoon. Nathaniel Lane Wiseman.
Mr. Wiseman, you're here in case number 19 CF 4108. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, armed burglary of an occupied dwelling, and battery. I find probable cause for those offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender's office. Ms. Bush, are you asking the court to make a finding at this time as to count 2?
Yes, I apologize, Your Honor. Yes, the state would ask the court, based on its reading of the sworn to arrest affidavit that alleges significant facts by identifiable witnesses and victims that can identify Mr. Weissman. The state is asking the court to find that proof is evident, or presumption is great, that Mr. Weissman is indeed the individual that did enter the curtilage of one victim's home and also committed the additional assaults and batteries on that victim and other victims. The state would ask that the court on count 2 hold Mr. Weissman at 0 bond. He is entitled to a bond as to counts 1 and 3. The state would also ask that the court's order include a no contact with victims or witnesses, possess no weapons, firearms, or ammunition, and no return to the scene.
Okay. Mr. Diaz.
The defense is not offering anything in response to the proof evident or presumption grade argument.
Okay.
We would like the court to consider setting bond nonetheless if it finds it appropriate in its discretion.
Okay. At this time, I do believe that the court has met its burden to establish that there is proof evident or presumption grade based upon the information in the sworn arrest affidavit. So bond as to count 1, or I'm sorry, as to count 2 will remain at 0, or I'm sorry. Yes, count 2 will remain at 0. Count 3 will be $5,000. Yeah, I'm sorry, excuse me. Count 1 is $500, count 2 is 0, and count 3 is also going to be $1,000. Count 1 is $5,000, count 2 is 0. And sir, you're not to return to 914 Indigo Avenue. You are not to have any contact with Zachary Beck or Robert Lyons. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms as well, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. I do.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry, count 1 was 5,000?
Correct.
500.
No, 5,000.
5,000, okay.
Yes.
I thought.
Sorry.
You okay? Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Brandon Wolf.
Mr. Wolf, you're here in case number 18 CF 458. Sir, this is a violation of probation matter as well as 19 CF 4109. In that case, sir, you were arrested for possession of ecstasy. I find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender in both cases. Your bond on 19 CF 4109 will be $500. In your bond, I do find probable cause for the violation of probation, sir, and that bond will be set at 0 at this time. And 19 MO 538, yes, sir, you do have an open container offense as well. I find probable cause. I'll set your bond at $100 and appoint the public defender as well. Good afternoon, your name?
John Beluso.
Sir, you were here in case number 19. It says 19 MM 211, and that you were arrested for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause, sir, for both of the offenses. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Bond on count 1 will be 500, bond on count 2 will be 100. And 19 CF 1930, sir, I'm going to revoke your bond in that matter. And count 1 will be set at $2,000. I'm sorry, count 1 will be set at $2,000. Count 2 will be set at $200. Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Autumn Goodley.
Ma'am, you're here in case number 19 MM 2542. You were arrested for resisting officer without violence and disorderly intoxication. I find probable cause for both of those offenses, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, ma'am. Your bond on count 1 is $500. Your bond on count 2 is $100.
Yeah, my mom forgot.
Ma'am, in the 19 MM 2542 case, I'm also going to order that you not return to the Andover K subdivision.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're not to have any contact. With Stephanie. I don't have Stephanie's last name in the report, but you're not to have any contact with her. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Case number 19 MM1307, I'll take no action in that case at this time. Good afternoon, your name?
Dane Laporte.
Sir, you're here in case number 19 2535. You're arrested for resisting officer without violence and disorderly intoxication. I find probable cause for both offenses, sir. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're also here in 19 MM2534. You arrested for battery. I do find probable cause for that offense as well. And I'll appoint the public defender's office in that matter. $19 MM2535, sir, I'm going to set your bond at $500 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. And in 19 MM2534, I'm going to set your bond at $5,000. Thank you, sir.
And Your Honor, may we have a no contact with the victim in 2534, please?
Yes, sir, you're not to have any contact with the alleged victim in that matter, and you also can't return to the Andretti indoor karting. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, sir, your name?
John Jeffrey Pownell.
Mr. Pownell, you're here in case number 19 MM2536. You were arrested for battery. I do find probable cause for the offense, and I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir. Your bond is $500. You're not to have any contact with Mila Migoloni, and you are not to return to 3435 South Orange Avenue. And you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms while out on bond, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes.
He's going to need a one-time return to recover his personal effects.
Sure, sir. You can go back one time. You have to coordinate that with the police before you show up. You can't just go there on your own to get your stuff, okay? So just make sure you call and make arrangements to do that first.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So I can bond out today if that's what...
If you can post your bond, yes. Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Shakari Timms.
Ms. Timms, you were here for an out-of-county warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
For grand theft, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
This is from Broward County.
Yes.
Your bond is $0. They'll come pick you up and you'll see a judge at first appearance.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Anybody else?
That's it, Your Honor.
Anything else? Okay. No, we'll be in recess.
Did we do Pownell?
Yeah.
Did we do Pownell? Pownell, okay. Okay. My paperwork got separated here.
I don't know, this thing's not acting right.
Okay, so...
Oh, there. Okay, yeah. Ooh, look at us. It's in here.
You're so tough.
This is Autumn Goodley.
During court, the clerk's office did
See?
respond. So I'm going to print that affidavit for you.
So we have someone new joining us. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
What's your name?
Robert Williams.
Mr. Williams? Well, welcome. Are you going to be starting out here?
Yes. Yeah, he'll be with us.
Okay. Good deal.
He'll be our tallest PD to date.
Pardon me?
He'll be our tallest PD to date.
Yeah, he might even give Bob a run for his money.
Yeah, I think he might be tall. Well, Bob told me he was shrinking, so he's kind of hunched over a little bit too. So I think you're taller than Bob, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought so.
Well, all right. I'll see you around tomorrow. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
What's that? Oh, I know, right?
Judge is laughing.
Listen, I was going to when
There you are. Now, they did not send the signed request for administrative transfer.
Oh no, I don't care
They
about
just
that.
signed
This is
that.
what matters.
Yeah, just more
This is what
information.
matters.
But see, and it's been done this way for quite a number of years on those walked-through, clocked-in copies. All the assistants do is they take the packet, but they print out a page for the clerk, because the clerk won't make copies there. So they print out a page, when they do the request for administrative transfer, they print that, they print 2 copies. One copy the ASA signs and the information the ASA signs. Then they take just what they printed out in addition to hand to the clerk for the clerk to stamp it, and then they walk back with it, that's all.
Dee, you've been practicing long enough to remember when we used to have to issue service in the mail.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not going to send somebody an unsigned, whatever copy. If you had to
No,
issue
but
service or something.
in the mail,
No,
that's why.
You with me, Ms.
The
Arlene?
rules
I ain't hear
on
what you
33-day
said.
motions, which are still in the order, by the way. For instance, the order says if a 33-day motion is filed on Friday,
He pushed her down.
it will be set for
She ready to go, he
the
ready to go,
following
he wanna go back. She
weekday,
don't wanna,
as long
she
as
don't
it
wanna let
doesn't
him
fall,
go.
fall on a holiday, et cetera, et cetera. But
And she don't want that.
No.
I said, she
At
can do
that
whatever she
time,
gotta do to keep them
it's
kids
still,
happy. That's what this
still, if it was something that was walked
Because,
over in a clocked-in copy,
according, now they bringing up stuff from.
way back when, in the day, when I started,
Come on, man.
15 years
Stop
ago,
it. She talking about all this
they
feeding.
would, actually, the clerks would
No way,
actually
man. He wanna go, but
take
you know, he wanna take
that
his kids,
signed
but that's
copy,
well, why is it fair
they
for us?
clock it in, they walk to the copier and copy it, and give us a copy.
This my thing though.
Because there are many times that I ran over there at the last minute with my own filings. I'm like, yeah, here it is, at 4 o'clock. But
Hey, I don't know, man.
they
I
stopped
don't know, because
doing
right
that.
now,
They said,
I thought they
our
caught
clerks
us
do
like,
not
you
have
could beat
time
on
to
them.
make copies.
I thought
So
that was part
just
of the
bring
culture,
us
too.
Right, but
That
why
he
don't
can't
you
just make copies and be on this?
Well, that's, well,
It's not necessarily part of
because
it, but
through
nobody's
the
gonna
years,
say.
what, and your office has accepted it every time, because locked-in copies are not the norm. They're the exception.
Well, I know that because we're supposed to be filing everything electronically. That was the first thing I told my young buck over here. Because
But there's
But it
some
sounds like
reason,
she got
I
the
don't
money.
understand why they do
Yeah.
it, but
It
when
sound like she
it's
has the
a
money.
request
She
for
won't let it go.
administrative transfer,
So
they
he's
cannot
stuck.
file those
Yeah.
electronically.
Why she won't let me go?
They can't file them electronically.
I just said, like I say, if you
Yeah, but you gotta have money to go. You can't just go without a ticket.
I got that, I got that.
Yeah.
So you trying to initiate a case electronically?
No, we can
Right.
initiate a
Right.
case electronically. We can't do the request. When the case comes in, like this did, as a felony.
Right.
And then we request to have it transferred to county court. That's fine, well and good, but the administrative order still says that the administrative judge has to sign off on a transfer.
I'm just saying.
So, and that's why it's not assigned a case number right away.
Yeah. I saw her. I was looking at
So,
I was like,
and
I caught that off.
Why don't you just file the information? No, we do. That's the whole packet. We have to file
But
the
instead of
request.
doing it all